Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. That was a poem by Dylan Thomas, a well-known poem. It was written in 1947 in Florence for his father who was sick, and was a plea not to accept death and maintain a zeal for life. It would eventually be published in 1951, 4 years after it was penned. Why am I giving you a history lesson? Why am I telling you about an old poem? Because it holds meaning. The meaning behind to not accept death so easily and to fight to the bloody end to live. Even in the face of sure death, fight to live, even if only for one more day. This is the sort of situation Naruto and his new Senju brethren face every day. Born on the field of battle, this too is where they're destined to die. But all the while, as that dark night falls, they rage against the dying of the light. When Kawarama passed, it was Hashirama who held his brothers together. And when Itama passed, it was Naruto holding Hashirama together. We all depend upon each other. We fight against the dying of the light, and sometimes we win. Sometimes we lose. All the time, it's the love and care of those nearby who carry us through. It seems that I'm feeling philosophical today. The bottom line is, our heroes have had it rough. They've experienced rough things, but they aren't yet finished. More tough times will toughen them, but if they persevere, maybe, just maybe, they won't have to go into that dark night. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. Hashirama stood there, the mantle of the Senju leadership weighing heavy on his shoulders. He looked to his father's image in a picture frame and felt sorrow. The day where I'm in charge is the day where I change things, Hashirama had always said. But now that he was here, he felt unsure of himself and his abilities. It's hard to believe he's gone, a voice said from behind. Hashirama turned back to see Naruto. A heart attack, Tobirama said. All the blades, arrows, and jutsu, and it was a heart attack of all things that took him out. Hashirama held onto the picture frame and pulled his finger gently across it. Why not a heart attack? The man sent his 2 youngest sons to war, only for them to be mercilessly murdered. He blamed himself to the end. Maybe a heart attack was fitting. The only way the Uchiha could ever hurt our father was by hurting those close to him. Our father was as wily as a fox, and a warrior with all the stealth and power of an alligator. Even Tajima, for all his power, could not defeat him, and went to his grave cursing the name Butsuma Senju. Tobirama stood there, his arms crossed. The 3 of them were no longer children, but had grown into men of strength. Perhaps they had been men a lot longer than most would have acknowledged, but in every sense they were now men. Despite that, old habits die hard, and Tobirama still stood there stoically, his arms crossed as if he were silently judging his brothers. You seem unhappy. Is this not everything you wanted? Hashirama then put the frame down on the mantle above the fireplace. A chance to change things, yes. And I knew that someday he would pass away, but I guess you can never truly prepare for that. All the same, now that I'm here, now that I'm in charge, I don't know what to do. We make peace, Naruto said. Hashirama laughed. Easier said than done, little brother. I don't know where to begin. Tobirama then spoke. That Madara Uchiha that you had a previous close relationship with has become the head of the Uchiha clan. Maybe talk to him. Madara Uchiha. Now that's a name Hashirama hadn't thought about in a long time. He thought back to their time as children. It wasn't much longer after the burial of Itama that the 2 of them met. Hashirama had gone down to the river to sit and contemplate the meaning of life. That is to say, he was doing a lot of crying in a secret place. As he did so, he heard 5 splishes, each one going higher in pitch the quicker the intervals got. He looked over to see a boy with long black hair skipping stones across the surface. The boy looked at Hashirama out of the corner of his eye. He then skipped another stone across the gently flowing water of this river. Hashirama took a breath. He didn't want the boy to see him cry. No, wait. Hashirama didn't give a damn. He deserved this moment. If this boy didn't want to see him cry, he could go skip stones somewhere else. Hashirama continued to cry. Suddenly, he noticed there was a second boy there, watching him cry. Hashirama began to wonder if he should sell tickets. He looked away from them and continued to weep. Suddenly, one of the boys tapped his shoulder. Hashirama looked back to see the younger of the two standing there. "What's wrong with you?" Hashirama saw an inquisitive, perhaps slightly uncaring glint in the boy's eyes, as if curiosity had compelled him to stick his nose in someone else's business. But all the while, Hashirama felt a silent judging, as if somehow this boy was judging him, confused on how someone like this could be so weak. Hashirama finally came to terms that now he had nowhere to release his emotions. So, like so many other times, he bottled it all back up with a sigh. "My little brother died the other day. I just needed somewhere to come to terms with that. I would still like to, if you don't mind." "So what?" came the voice of the eldest boy. "You lost a brother. I mean, I see why you'd be upset, but that's just the hand you're dealt." Hashirama looked back. "What did you say?" The eldest boy had by this time pulled out a fishing rod and cast his baited line out into the water. "I said, so what? I don't mean to sound callous or like it didn't matter, nor do I mean to act as if it shouldn't hurt. You're not wrong in what you're doing. I'm just saying, don't let it eat you up alive. It's just reality. For every winner, there's a loser." Hashirama stood up and pushed the boy into the water. The boy looked up at him with a scowl. The youngest of the two took a step back. This was Big Brother's fight now. The boy who had previously been fishing, now sitting butt down in the water, looked up at Hashirama and bore his teeth once just to knock his legs out from under him. As Hashirama fell into the water, the boy crawled on top of him and pressed his hands to his face, submerging Hashirama's whole head underwater and keeping it there. Hashirama kicked and struck out blindly. The boy took the shots but didn't stop. He was willing to take the toll just to hold him underwater a moment longer. When Hashirama's bubbling stopped and his movements became more frantic, the boy held him down for about 5 seconds longer before pulling him back above the water to allow Hashirama to breathe. He held his face close to his own. "Listen, I'm sorry about your brother, but don't be a wuss about it." Hashirama sat there as blood dripped down from the boy's possibly broken nose onto Hashirama's face. "Your brother died. Okay, sorry. Mine did too. In fact, 3 of them did. Very recently too." Hashirama looked up at him. "I didn't ask for your opinion. If I wanted to be consumed in my sorrow, that's my choice." The boy scoffed and dropped him in the water. "No, it's not." Hashirama sat up. "What do you mean it's not? It's my life. I can do whatever I want with it." The black-haired boy looked back. "If that were true, you wouldn't be fighting in a war or watching your friends and family die. Face it, freedom is an illusion. The only person truly free are the strong because nobody can make them do anything. I held you underwater. If I hadn't let you up, you would have drowned and you wouldn't have been alive to make any decisions except die. The decision I forced on you because I was stronger. Cry about your rights. Preach about your freedoms. You have nothing if you can't be anything. So that's why I'm telling you not to be eaten alive. If you cry, it shows weakness, and weakness is a loss of freedom. As you cry, you put shackles on yourself, and then someone like me is free to lead you wherever I want you to go." Hashirama stood from the water. "That's a really perverted view of things." The boy laughed. "Perverted view? It's reality. Just because you disagree with something or don't like it, it doesn't make it any less true. The weak serve the strong. It's not how we want it to be, but it's how it is in this world's system." "Then maybe this world needs to change," Hashirama stated. The boy thought about it. "Yeah, perhaps there's something more I'd like to be doing right now besides fight. But as I said, that's the world we live in. And what is someone like me gonna do to change jack squat?" Hashirama heard this and recalled thinking the same. He began to explain to the boy his dreams. The boy thought about it for a moment. "So you want to make a world where there is no fighting, only peace?" Hashirama nodded. The boy continued. "You know that's not possible, right? Not everyone will choose peace. Some people were born in war, nursed on it, ripped from the womb among the blood and gore of battle, suckled on the blood of their enemies, sang to sleep by the lullabies of cannon fire and explosives, like my kid brother Sasuke was." Hashirama looked back at the younger boy. The elder brother spoke. "He, along with his older brother, were found on the field of battle. We thought he was dead when we found his older brother just sitting there in shell shock. They were malnourished. My father took them in and made fine warriors out of them." Hashirama looked back. "Peace is possible, if we work together." The elder boy laughed. "Are you gonna tell me that it's achieved through friendship and teamwork?" Hashirama shrugged. "A little. But I mean, we need to form a strong village. The Senju and Uchiha need to form a strong bond together and forget this war." The boy held up his hand. "Hold up, that's a trigger word. Never mention the Senju or Uchiha. It's possible we're on opposing sides, and I would hate for us to have to end this conversation with murder." Hashirama looked around. "Fair. We should still exchange names though, but not clan names. My name is Hashirama." The black-haired boy thought for a moment if there was going to be a way that this could go wrong. Content that nothing bad could happen by merely sharing his given name, he spoke. My name is Madara, and that boy over there is Sasuke. And from that day on, Madara and Hashirama would meet together. Sometimes Madara would bring Sasuke with him, and on occasion Hashirama brought Naruto. This is my kid brother Naruto, and like Sasuke there, he too was born on the battlefield. Madara nodded in greeting. Naruto would raise his hand. As Madara and Hashirama talked, Naruto would hang around with Sasuke. The two would talk, play a little, and hold various contests such as stone skipping. So, you have a brother by blood and a brother by adoption? Sasuke nodded. Technically, I have 2 brothers by adoption. I used to have 5 adopted brothers in total, but Naruto nodded. I used to have 4. Now I only have 2. Sasuke thought about it. I'm both luckier and unluckier than you. I lost more brothers, but I still have more than you. I guess that makes our luck about even. Naruto shook his head. I don't count those things. Luckier, unluckier, I don't measure pain. Everyone hurts differently. No 2 people share the same experiences. Everyone just has a different view on reality. Sometimes I think that's why war exists. But without such nuances, I don't think humans would ever be anything more than robots. Sasuke thought deeply on these words. So, you say it's because we're human that we become inhuman monsters? Naruto looked over. Who draws the lines on what is or isn't human? Monsters. Yes. Inhuman? No. Humans are merely monsters, but we can be so much more too. Your brother's right. There are causal nexuses like winning and losing. I believe that humans are contradictory. We defy logic. Love, hate, we experience both, sometimes at the same time. Is it that we're indecisive and don't even understand ourselves? Or is it that we're more complex and capable of breaking beyond the laws of nature, the laws of what is in our own mind? Sasuke was a little astounded by the new thoughts in his head. Wow, that was mind-blowing. You came up with that? Naruto shook his head. No, my brother, Tobirama's an egghead. He knows all sorts of stuff, and one of the things he's been studying is human behavior. He's concluded that there is no single answer with humans, and that humans embody multiple contradictory concepts which are, as he said, somehow all true and all false at the same time. The only reason I understand what he's telling me is because Tobirama was in charge of teaching me and my brothers. He was our schoolmaster. Sasuke nodded. My father just told me to be observant and keep my eyes open, ears open, and mouth shut. He said that life teaches you everything you need to know, while your gut and common sense help you figure out the rest. Naruto nodded. That's how I try to do it. Tobirama gave up on teaching us after a while. Naruto sat there. Sasuke, I really like hanging out with you. I know we don't tell our clan names, but if I had to say one thing, if one of us were a Senju or an Uchiha, I still wouldn't want to kill you. Sasuke laughed. Perhaps I wouldn't either, but when it boils down to it, the strong lead and the weak follow. If I'm commanded to kill, I must obey. Let's just hope it doesn't come down to that. Over the course of many weeks, the 4 boys continued to meet up by this same river, and as you guessed it, their family figured this out, particularly with the help of Tobirama and Izuna. It's at this point that the boys, who managed to force a ceasefire for the time being, must face what they already expected to be true. They were both Senju and Uchiha, which made them enemies. Hashirama extends his hand in friendship, but Madara turns it down, realizing that their dreams and goals were a lie, unachievable. Naruto holds his hand out to Sasuke. It doesn't have to be this way. I still don't want to kill you. Sasuke looks down. I don't want to kill you either, but I don't have a choice. And neither do you. He smiles a bit. Our friendship was fun. Really fun. And if I could have it for one more day, I'd be so happy. But the strong lead and the weak follow. If we meet on the battlefield, I will try to kill you, and you should try to kill me too. And if you succeed, don't feel bad. It's what our duties are. Sasuke began to walk away. Naruto called out, I don't like this duty. Sasuke stopped for a moment. I don't think anyone does. He then disappears with his father. From that point forward, they never saw them again, save the occasion where they appeared in battle. Returning to the present, the new clan head, Hashirama, snapped out of a reverie that seemed to last days, but only actually lasted for a few seconds. He looked back. Madara is the new clan head now, isn't he? We have history together. Maybe now is the time for us to form a pack. I wonder if we can parlay somewhere. Secretly. Tobirama thought about it. You best be careful how you do it. Hashirama smiled. Of course. I'll tell him we should meet alone. And then we come too, Tobirama tagged to the end of his sentence. Hashirama's eyes opened. But that would make me a liar. Tobirama shook his head in disbelief, and possibly in a little disappointment as he rolled his eyes towards the ceiling. Hashirama, you're the current clan head. You have a target on your back. You need to assume that when you tell him to come alone that he won't. And he needs to assume that when you tell him to come alone that he won't. Hashirama was confused. If neither of us plan to come alone, and we know that the other isn't going to come alone, then why request that we come alone? Because requesting to come alone shows that you're hoping to discuss something in privacy and safety, even if you both know it's a lie. That's just how it is. Hashirama thought about it. Where should we meet? Naruto smiled. I think I know a good place. Hashirama stood by the bank of the river. He saw the stones there that he and Madara used to pull from just to skip. Looking deeper, he saw the larger stone that they both threw into the river together. It was still sitting there, though it was smaller due to erosion. The night was cool, and the only sound were the nocturnal insects' song, attempting to be louder than the water passing them by. Eventually, Madara showed up. In one hand was his gunbai, in the other was his scythe. He looked down and embedded his scythe into the ground, and then leaned his gunbai against it. In the trees opposite, a lot of eyes loomed. Half Uchiha, half Senju, none making any movements. Strictly bodyguards. Madara looked around with his Sharingan as none of these Senju even dared attempt to hide. He sighed. I suppose privacy is hard to come by these days. Hashirama nodded. Even if we wanted to meet alone, they wouldn't let us. I guess it just goes to show that there are limits to a leader's power. Madara turned his back to the tree line just as Hashirama had. He faced the water. I was knocked off guard when I received your parlay, but I'll be honest with you, I wasn't exactly surprised by this either. Hashirama looked over. Madara, why are we fighting? Madara didn't answer. Hashirama turned to face him. Seriously, did your father ever tell you? Because mine never told me. I don't know what started this or why it's continuing. Tell me you have a reason. Madara looked over. I have my reason. Hashirama shrugged. Please share, because I can't say that I do. Madara sighed. My reason is my Uchiha clan. Even if I tried to shut the war down, they wouldn't let me. There's a blood debt owed, and neither of us can quit until that debt is paid. But Madara, the longer we fight, the more debt we build. You have to see this. Madara nodded. It's not in my hands anymore. Do you remember when I said that the strong lead and the weak follow? I recently learned something. As clan heads, we too are still weak. I'm weak because the people below me, when unified, are strong, and the same is the true of you. At any time we make ourselves an enemy to our respective clans, our clansmen will throw everybody they have at us to get us removed. This is why peace can never work. Nobody wants it, and as long as the majority want war, that's all we'll have. Hashirama rubbed his temples. So, what are you saying? We just give up? Madara looked at Hashirama. I'm saying that either way will lead to our deaths and war. So while we're alive, we might as well get what's best for our clans. Naruto suddenly burst forth from the trees. At that moment, Sasuke, Itachi, and Izuna. And at that, Tobirama and the rest of the Senju, followed by the entirety of Madara's entourage. Madara sighed. Naruto called out, Madara, please! You have the power to change this if you try. You have to believe in this. Believe in the future. Believe in us. Madara turned and began to walk away. When we next meet on the field of battle, we'll end it for good. And that became a promise. From that moment on, Madara grew serious about killing Hashirama, and the men often found themselves crossing blades. On one particular occasion, Naruto found Itachi. They stood there and spoke. I don't wish to kill you, Itachi. Itachi looked to the ground for a moment and then back up at Naruto. You should though. Naruto was confused. Itachi then spoke. I did something really bad to you, and I've not been able to sleep because of it. Naruto listened to the man's plight. Itachi showed obvious shame. I killed him. Naruto looked up at him with confusion and a caring heart. Killed who? Itachi then continued. Itama. I was the one who killed Itama. Naruto's eyes widened. What? Itachi then continued. We were fleeing from you in the Nine Tails when we rushed into the woods. There we met Senju forces and routed them, all except one boy. We chased him into the woods. I had reservations. The moment we recognized who he was though, the son of Butsuma, I hated him. I had lost so many friends and family to the Senju, and at that point I recognized him as the source of my pain. We stabbed him to death. He begged for mercy and we showed him none. Tears began to run down Itachi's cheek. I've been unable to tell you, I was so ashamed. After meeting you and the others, my views on these things changed. It was wrong to kill him. Every night I wished I hadn't. Every night I wished I died instead. I can't live with this guilt. He was so innocent, and we ganged up on him and murdered him. Itachi fell to his knees. So please, Naruto, I can't keep going. Stab me as I stabbed Itama. End my suffering. As Itachi cried, Naruto approached him. Naruto was full of anger and rage. He kept seeing Itama in his head, seeing the blood splashed against the stone. His little brother slumped in front. He looked down upon Itachi with contempt. Itachi pulled out a tanto. Here, use this. Kill me as I killed Itama. Naruto reached down and grabbed the blade. He knelt down to Itachi's level, but suddenly the blade dropped into the grass. Itachi opened his eyes and looked up. Why? He saw Naruto was crying now too. Naruto wrapped his arms around Itachi and pulled him into a hug. I forgive you. Itachi cried all the more, unsure how Naruto could forgive him for such a heinous crime. But Naruto's compassion overflowed from his heart. Hashirama told him once that they needed to learn to swallow their pain if they were going to bring peace to the world. All the while, Sasuke watched from a distance. Naruto chose to forgive. In every moment, Sasuke's heart was slowly turning toward the Senju and its leadership. As the battles ended, Sasuke would approach Madara and his brother Izuna. I witnessed something today that puts things into perspective. Not too long ago, my brother, Itachi, told me that he was the one responsible for killing Itama, the brother of Hashirama and Naruto. It was eating him up, because as he learned how the Senju were, he realized the gravity of what he had done. Madara listened. Today, I witnessed him confess those things to Naruto. He fell to his knees and offered Naruto a blade. Naruto dropped it and hugged him. Madara thought for a moment. He forgave him. Sasuke nodded. Even after everything we've done, after everything we've all been through, the Senju are truly open to peace. We need to stop this war. Madara thought about it. I wish we could, but we can't. Nor should we, Izuna stated. Sasuke looked over. Big brother Izuna, please. We have to consider this. I know the Senju took our other brothers, but we need to forgive them as well. Izuna scoffed at this. Madara thought about it. If we're going to foster peace and change minds, then we need to bring them here to talk. Bring Naruto. Maybe the story of he and Itachi can change their minds. Izuna was startled. You can't be seriously going along with this, Madara. Madara nodded. I am. Something about them. I'm intrigued. And so the Senju were called to meet with the Uchiha. Naruto would be the star of the visit, although he had his own entourage as well as his brothers near him. Naruto would walk into the Uchiha village as his brethren followed. Hashirama and Tobirama were the only ones to follow Naruto in. It was obvious that the Uchiha were skeptical of this and they wished to kill them. However, Naruto would remove all of his weapons and drop them to the ground. Hashirama would do the same and convince Tobirama to do so as well. The three would step forward in front of everyone. Tobirama and Hashirama would step back a ways as Naruto came closer. He saw Itachi standing in front of the Uchiha. The two would embrace, which elicited no small reaction from the crowd. Naruto would look around to the others. So, hello. I know you all might remember me. I'm Naruto Senju, and currently I'm the youngest of 3 brothers. I'm a member of the Senju clan's head. He was suddenly booed by the crowd. He cleared his throat. This war, it's bitter, and it's gone on for too long. Our reasoning for it is no longer present. Only pain remains. That's the only reason. But the pain is present on both sides. In the end, it's our own love of our family and the loss of that love that forms hatred. We're both alike in that way. I'm not very good with words, but what I want to ask you to do is forgive. The more we hate, the more we fight, which means we send our young to die, and that's not fair to them. And it only causes us to hate each other more. It's a self-perpetuating cycle, and it needs to stop. I know it seems like I'm one to talk, huh? A Senju marching into your village, telling you how to live. That seems to be a spit right in your face, huh? But I don't mean for it to be. I do know what you're feeling, but I'm tired of fighting. You see, I had 2 little brothers. The first's name was Kawarama, and he was the heart and soul of my family. He would give you his coat in the bitterest of winter storms if you shivered even once. He was the one to comfort Itama every time he was nervous, and even as he died, he continued to comfort us. Naruto took a breath and swallowed his feelings. Itama was our youngest brother, the last child our mother produced before complications took her life. Itama was, for lack of a better word, a scaredy cat, a crybaby, and we loved him every moment. Kawarama was his safe place. He was always on Kawarama's arm somewhere, and when Kawarama died, it destroyed him. He believed it to be his own fault. As Naruto spoke, Itachi was breaking down into tears. Naruto saw this and put a hand on Itachi's shoulder. Itama was without his comfort. I swore to him to be the comfort he needed. I would be with him and protect him. Then, one day, the only day I wasn't with him, he was killed. He died alone, terrified, in pain and suffering, and it was at the hands of Itachi Uchiha. Naruto looked up at Itachi, who was crying heavily. Naruto hugged him. I'm tired of being upset. I'm tired of being mad. I loved Kawarama. I loved Itama, and I'm tired of hating the Uchiha. Izuna then walked forward. Nice story, but you forgot something. Some of us aren't easy to forgive. A few of us love our lost ones more than you love your Kawarama and Itama, it seems. Naruto grew angry from that. He held on though. Izuna stepped closer. I had brothers too. They were my best friends, and each one of them was killed by your clan. Your brothers there killed them. You lost 2 siblings, I lost 3. You want peace, then pay the penalty. You still owe me 1 more Senju life as payment. Izuna held out his tanto. He smiled. Now why don't you go back to your village? Naruto looked up at him. He then looked out at the others. He pulled his armor off and stepped up to Izuna. If you need to kill 1 more brother to foster peace, then do it. I'll die for the Senju, and I'll die for the Uchiha too. Tobirama wanted to step in, but Naruto held out his hand to stop him. No, this is my decision, Tobirama. I want you to promise me that when I do this, you won't seek vengeance. The age of vengeance is over. It dies with me." Madara watched this and sighed. Sasuke was in the crowd watching too. He couldn't let this happen. He rushed forward through the crowd to stop it. He cried out, "Izuna, wait!" Naruto looked up. "Bury all of your hatred with me, Izuna." Izuna then plunged the blade into Naruto's chest, drawing blood. The crowd watched. Naruto seemed to collapse on Izuna's shoulder. The people saw this and were astounded. It was unbelievable. Naruto looked out over them, and with whatever voice he had left, he spoke. "We Senju don't want to rule you. We want to stand equal. One clan, one village." Izuna pulled the blade from his chest, and Naruto fell back. Hashirama and Tobirama rushed to him and held him. Tobirama, in his rage, cursed Naruto for throwing his life away for nothing. Naruto smiled. "It wasn't for nothing. Look." They all looked out and saw the expressions of the Uchiha. It seemed that this death was not the taste they had hoped for. "The path to peace. It's open. Please, don't waste this. Befriend the Uchiha. Teach them to love like we do, Hashirama. And teach them to forget how to hate." Madara looked away from the sight. He had been friends with Naruto before this, and now, despite having tried to kill him on the battlefield, he couldn't watch him die. Izuna looked down on them. "You want to kill me now, right? Go ahead and try, you Senju dogs." Tobirama stood and prepared to attack when Naruto grabbed his ankle. "No, don't. Please. It'll be wasted if you do. We're done with vengeance." Tobirama took a breath and knelt down to Naruto. Naruto smiled. "Swallow your pain. Labor to forgive. Peace takes sacrifice." And with that, his eyes closed and he let out his last breath. Hashirama was already in tears. It was then that Sasuke pushed through. He came to Naruto's side. "No, Naruto!" He looked at him. He felt his pulse and felt nothing. Tears were streaming from his eyes. He then weaved a hand sign. Izuna looked over. "What are you doing? He killed our brothers. I require vengeance." Sasuke looked up. "And you've had it. I will purchase his life back again." Suddenly, one of Sasuke's eyes turned a pale white, and Naruto's eyes opened as he took a deep breath. The crowd was in awe. An Uchiha willingly sacrificed one of their Sharingan to bring a Senju back to life. And it was one of the brothers of Madara Uchiha. This began to lead down a new road as skirmishes came to a sudden halt. This one action caused the entire war to halt as both sides reconsidered their relationship. Eventually, Madara declared that come hell or high water, he would not order another Uchiha to fight and die in a war against the Senju, and Hashirama did the same. After so many years weary of battle, the people seemed to show some relief. However, it wasn't as easy for the people to forgive each other, and that could be expected. But just as hoped, the two clans ceased hostilities and began to draw closer together. And as time passed, the dreams shared between Madara, Sasuke, Hashirama, and Naruto became a reality. The start of the Hidden Leaf Village. The group would then debate who would become Hokage, the leader of the village. Tobirama pushed for it to be a vote, but due to Naruto telling Hashirama what needed to happen, Hashirama would pull himself out of the race, leaving Madara unopposed. Madara Uchiha became the first Hokage with Hashirama and Naruto as his aides. Together, they vowed peace, and as Naruto, Tobirama, and Hashirama sat atop the rock cliff overlooking the village, Naruto spoke. "You know, we only got this far because of the sacrifices we made." Tobirama nodded. "So many lives lost." Hashirama looked over. Itama and Kawarama too. Naruto thought about it. Had Kawarama not died, Itama might still be alive, but because Itama died, Itachi turned from vengeance and hatred. Hashirama looked over to Naruto, and because you chose not to indulge in hatred, we have peace now. If anyone should be Hokage after Madara, it should be you, Naruto. Naruto smiled. "Maybe. I don't really care though. I just want this peace to last." And of course, it didn't. Nothing ever lasts. The First Shinobi World War eventually breaks out, and it's during this time that both Naruto and Hashirama Senju die. And as time passes, Madara would pass the title of Second Hokage to Tobirama, who, during that same World War, would also die. The title would then be passed on to Sasuke Uchiha. Peace is eventually restored, and it's during this time of war and peace that Sasuke understands what Naruto had once said to him. Humans were contradictory, and tended to not be one thing or the other. They were in war and at peace as well, switching quickly between love and hate like indecisive children. But it was Sasuke's belief that if they continued to show the same love as Naruto and Hashirama, that perhaps the world would eventually know a lasting peace. And that's the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this video, please let me know by clicking the like button and dropping us a comment about it. This video series was one so emotionally charged, but I couldn't just let it end on a sour note. I had originally planned for the village to fall and Itachi to be killed by Naruto for killing Itama, but I didn't because I thought it to be more in Naruto's character for him to forgive him. But hey, maybe there's an entirely different video possible about if Naruto didn't forgive Itachi. If that's something you would like to see, then let us know and share this video to as many friends as you can. Until next time, peace out.
Did you enjoy our video? Well, then be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.